The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everyone. I'd like to welcome you back to another KevCAM night class tonight. Do see some current customers in here, so I won't go through the boring introduction, but tonight we have something special for everyone, and that would be Ken Merritt helping us out and showing you guys some easier ways to kind of get your project going inside SolidCAM and really to save a lot of time. And I'll turn it over to him shortly. But if you guys do have questions, definitely type those into the questions panel. And then, of course, we've got Greg Payton here to help out as well for you guys. So like I said, any questions come up, let us know, and we will get those addressed right away. And with that being said, Ken, I'm going to kick it over to you now, and we'll switch over to you. All right, we can see you.
You got my screen?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, hi, everybody. Welcome to another night of KevCAM class. What we want to talk about tonight is kind of setting up a master project. Now, I'm going to show you a real simple version of this and how it can work for you, but this can be something that saves a little bit of time for you. Kind of get rid of some of the intermediate things that we do a lot of times when we're wanting to have simulation look real, and kind of keep it set up. Now, this is not a fix-all, okay? What this is for somebody that's, for instance, using the same vise setup on the machine and they're just flipping parts in and out of it, then you can do this master project and it's already ready to go. We just put the new model in there and away we go. So we'll talk about how to do that. So what I like to start off with what I call the master project is I just put a simple part in here, just a brick or something of that nature. Might put a couple of tool paths on it, maybe not, you know, just depends on what you want to do. I've got a couple of iMachining tool paths set up in here for this. I got one around the outside here, and then I've also got one, you know, in the inside pocket. Nothing fancy, no big deal, but it gives me a starting place to work from. Now, the idea behind this is that we'll go to the CAM part definition, and when we right-click on this, we're going to do a Save As. Now, the Save As is going to allow me to identify this to the new part that I'm going to be working on, all right? So in this case, again, just super simple. I'm just going to do this as an _2. We'll save that. This is going to close the original master project, so that stays like it was all the time. So you build it up to the state that you want it, and then it stays there. You just open it up, save as, to your new name for the new part that you're going to be working on, and then let it open back up in that. Notice now we're in _2, okay? Then the next thing that we want to do is we want to change the model reference. So we go right back into there, and we simply change the model reference. Now I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go find my Raptor version 2. I'm going to put that model in here, say OK, model will be replaced. Let it do its thing. It's going to go through and change out. The brick will be gone. The new part's going to come in.
Now, one thing to remember that everyone is watching right now is this works excellent with a family of parts, but what Ken's showing us right now is two completely different parts. And like Ken said, it's not going to be set up for all applications because, you know, not all of us have parts that are, you know, that are all going to fit in the vise the exact same way. But this is a good starting point for you guys to kind of think outside the box on how you guys can really save yourself a lot of time instead of, you know, opening up your SolidWorks file, doing a SolidCAM new milling, putting the coordinate system, stock, all that, as well as importing in your vices, toe clamps and table and all that stuff. So that will really save you guys a lot in the front end.
Exactly. So we've got it into the new part now. The new body is in here, but notice it doesn't fit into the vise the way we did with the other ones. A different size, it's a completely different part. It's not a family of parts. So there's a couple of things that we're going to want to do, and let me show you how that works. Number one, the first thing we want to do is we want to reassign the stock and the target. because they're totally different parts. The ID tags are not the same. And so I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this. I'm going to remove this model and then go over here, and I'm going to select the target model that I've got, or the stock model that I've got on there, and assign that. And it's going to recognize that, and then we'll do the same thing with the target. Okay. And so we'll go back, double click the target. Now, this has actually found it, but I like to be safe. I like to go ahead and just unselect this and then come back in and reselect it, just to make sure that it sort of refreshes it, if you will. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and synchronize that. And we know that that's clean. Okay. Now, so that we fit it in properly, we'll notice that if we go back over to the feature tree, that things are a little bit broken up here because the faces that we mated no longer exist in this model. But the way I've done this makes it very easy to come back in and do it. This is our vise, okay? And so if we open that up, we'll see the mates here that are in the assembly, and notice 3 of them are broken. This is the width mate that holds it between the vise and center, the coincident for the Y positive side of it, and the coincidence for the bottom of it. Now, each one of these is broken in the same way, so I want to show you that. We're going to go ahead and open one of these up, the width mate, and you'll notice that the missing faces are both in one. The faces on the vise are still there. So I'm just going to remove these. We'll clear these selections. Again, we're going to pick up this face of the stock body, and we'll pick up this face of the stock body, say OK to that, and that mate is now fixed. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the side of the part, the Y positive side that fits in the vise, and we're going to change that one as well. And you'll notice again the part face is missing. So if I roll it around here to where I can get to it, then I can just go ahead and delete just that face, reassign it to that one. It simply moves it into the right position on the vise, and away we go. Now again, one more that we've got to do is the bottom of it. Notice it's down too far. It's not sitting correctly. So we're going to open that one back up. Again, we have a face missing. So we'll right click and delete that face, and then zoom up underneath this, get into a orientation where we can pick that clear surface good without picking something underneath it. And now that sets up and fits where it belongs. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do, because I want to do this realistically, notice my vise isn't open far enough. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this face and control pick this face, and that's going to show me that I'm 4.2 inches. Now, I do something here where in that, that assembly model for the vise, in my favorite folder, I put the mate for the jaw opening. Makes it real easy to find. I don't have to go searching through a whole bunch of different mates. And so I can just open this up, and I can just change this dimension to 4.2. Okay, that opens that up. Clear out of the mates, a quick Control Q to update everything. Back into assembly mode. Close that, we're ready to rock. So now that is cleaned all back up. Just a couple of quick things that needed to do to set it back in place where we wanted it. And now I can go back into the operations that I have, and I can very quickly take a look at this operation. Notice that this is set up for the outside of this. Now, in my levels, one of the things that I want to do is I want to set this back to being associative to this vise jaw. And I'm going to give that a 0.02 clearance in a positive direction. Save and calculate. It's going to facet the fixture model into this and make sure that it's all set up for simulation checks. Okay, And we're going to notice something about this. Some of you might be able to see it already. Notice the stock is kind of out here, right? That's our fixture avoidance functionality. And so if we want to, we can go back in there. We can change that fixture avoidance. Let me check where it is right now in the technology. Let's see, I'm sorry, actually the geometry page. Yeah, see, we're set for 20 thousandths. And I set this for 20 above. So what I really might want to do is set this for 30 above. And then my stock will come all the way across instead of running into that vise and having to avoid it. So a lot of power in here for doing things like that.
Yeah. If I can just jump in here real quick, Ken, one thing to remember too is with the mates and all that stuff, if this is something, you know, if you guys have similar parts and you don't want to, if you don't care about the vices or the table and all that stuff, you can also, this will also save you quite a bit of time just by doing the save as and replacing the model in there, just because one, your coordinate system is still going to be there, your stock, your target,
Right.
Your coordinate system is going to be where you set it, plus all your operations are going to be there along with your tools from your tool library with all your holders too. So
yeah, so it makes it real nice and clean.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, something else, notice this one's got some broken parts to it, so we're going to double click, go back into that one. Now, this is the one that was just in that brick in the inside rectangular pocket, okay? So this is going to now update with this new operation in here. Remember, we have automatic update stock that the iMachining is looking at. So when we do this into a new, completely different part, it does have to roll through that, verify where the stock is, and then allow you to set that up. Now, on the geometry page, one of the things you're going to notice is this face was what created that open power or closed pocket in that brick, right? So again, we're just going to remove that, and then we'll go back and we'll pick up, you know, this face, this face, this face here, and this face here. Those are all on the same level. And then I can just go ahead and I can look at my levels, make sure that they're where I want them to be. Notice it picks them all up automatically. We save and calculate. Now that tool was already assigned. I know it'll work in here. If you needed to change the tool, you can also change the tool. It's very simple. Okay, but it gives you a quick, easy way of reassigning this and now creating this functionality here. We can also, while we're here, simply do a save and copy, okay, because I want to catch this shelf up here as well. But I'm going to have to change tools for that. I need a smaller tool to get in there. So again, let it go through the calculation of the updated stock for what it just did. And then we'll be able to go in, reselect the face, change the tool, be good to go. Okay, so we're back in here now. I'm going to switch over to an 1/8" tool. I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that.
Isn't it great when we're live?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it. Creature of habit, too, you know. All right, so I'm going to go back in to the tool library, and I want to grab this. Oh, I think I forgot to put it in there. My bad. So I'm just going to grab it from here. 1/8" tool. And that's okay. So we'll put that in as, let's go to 7. Will work just fine. Okay, my bad. All right, so we're there. Alrighty. Okay, I've got something set wrong in here, my bad. For right now, let's just go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our geometry page. These 4 faces were the ones that we selected up there, right? So we're going to delete all those, and we're simply going to pick on that face right there, and then do a save and calculate. Now, again, this saves you a lot of work up in front, loading up the fixtures, plugging in all the different components, however advanced or however full you want your setups to be for simulation. If you've done all that in advance, your setup is taken care of, your fixtures are already identified, all that stuff stays in place, okay? And we get the toolpath that we're looking for there, and we're ready to go. Now, again, with everything set up like this, we can also then come back in and take our hole wizard, and we can drag and drop into here and create toolpaths for the holes in here as well. So as you can see, very quickly, we can program a completely new job that's already previously set up. So, Kevin, anything else you'd like to cover on this? Do we want to do a different part, or open it up for question and answers?
Yeah, we can. If you have another part, we definitely can. One thing to remember is to, a lot of the times when you guys are starting off a new program, Ken didn't show it in here, but usually we'll start off with a face mill, or I shouldn't say usually, but at least from my experience, I would have a little bit of excess material on the top, do a skim cut. That will also automatically transition over for you because it is all based off of the feature recognition.
Off the face selection.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So kind of keep that in mind too when you guys are going about it. And like I said, this is not a once all fix all to get you guys 100% much faster. We're just trying to throw you some ideas on how you can really optimize your programming inside SolidCAM by instead of starting fresh every time. And the way I like to look at it is if you guys have a tool library, if you take the time up front and create a tool library of the tools that are in your tool crib or in your tool carousel in your machine versus having to create new tools every single time where you have to go in there, put your coolant options, put your feeds and speeds, put your holders on there. That all takes time, where if you pull it out of a tool library, everything's already pre-set up for you. So kind of what we're trying to show you guys here is a little bit of front end work will definitely pay off in the end for you guys.
Absolutely. And to carry this just a step further and talk about some things, remember this templates area, okay? You can manage your templates in here, and you can have templates stored in different locations that are machine specific, material specific, even, things of that nature. So if you want to take the time as you're going along to begin building an infrastructure, not only the tool tables can be built like Kevin was talking about, but you can also do some pretty amazing stuff by starting to store templates that you really like to use for a particular machine and a particular material. Now remember that there's a lot of configuration capabilities that we do that don't really get talked about a lot. When we go into the SolidCAM part and we look at the CAM settings, there are some really powerful things you can do, for instance, directing where your templates are. Notice that this is pathing to a particular location for your templates. Okay, well, you can create different paths for different reasons. So you could have machine 1 for cutting aluminum. You can have all your tool tables driven for feeds and speeds for cutting aluminum on that particular machine with its vibration characteristics. You could have another machine, machine 3, for cutting aluminum that could have the same tool table copied over into a different location with feeds and speeds and depths of cut change, because that machine may have greater or lesser performance capabilities, okay? Then you could have another folder for the same machine 1 cutting stainless steel, okay? And if you start to capture all those things and organize all that, remember, with these settings, you can save those settings out, and you can save them out into different naming structures with all the paths converted to those configurations. So very quickly, when you come into something like this, you can even go into the settings here. And, oops, on the other screen, sorry about that. Remember, in here, you can reset the page according to the SolidCAM settings, or you could reset this page, all pages according to SolidCAM settings. So if you preload your settings for a particular condition, you could very easily, even though this is a master project, you could reconfigure those locations pointing to different tool tables, different templates, and such. And then all of these templates that would come up in here would be specific to the situation and condition that you're running in at that time. And so you can make that very, very effective, where you begin to drag and drop templates that are specifically oriented to a particular machine, particular material, tool selections, feeds and speeds, step overs, depths of cut, so on and so forth. So a lot of power in doing stuff this way that can really optimize your programming time and begin to allow you much more efficiency, if you will, in getting programs out to the machine.
And you guys don't have to have just one master program for this either. You guys can have multiples of these master programs. So even if you want to go from a square part to a round part to using, these are, I'm going to have a brain fart here. What vise are you using on here?
This is a Raptor. Yeah, this is a Raptor vise, but depending on what vise you're using,
yep.
Yeah, or chuck.
Yep.
You know, you might have a 6-inch buck chuck out here that you're using to hold round parts.
Yep.
Okay.
So I just want to throw that out there for you guys too.
Yeah, great suggestion, Kevin. There's no reason you can't set up multiples of these things, just like you can set up multiple configurations of your templates. A lot of people don't think about this until they get much deeper into the program and start to realize what's available to them in optimizing their programming time. But it can really do a lot for you. And especially even things like, and I didn't have the time to set it up tonight, but let me throw something out. A lot of you may have machines that have controllers with conversational language on them. And I've heard a lot of our customers say, just for this little fixture widget that I'm doing, I can just go out and plug a couple numbers in on the controller and I've got it, knocked out before I even have the chance to go draw the solid model up. Well, think about this. Create if you will, a master sketch file. Doesn't even have to be a solid model. You can have multiple sketches in the file that are for different reasons. I've got a square, I've got a rectangle, I've got one with the tool on the inside cutting like a pocket, I've got one with the outside cutting the outer profile on it. I can have all those set up, lined up on my coordinate system where I'm going to do it on the machine. And all I've got to do is open up that sketch, change the dimensions, synchronize and recalculate the toolpath, post the code to the machine and go. If I've got a circular pocket that I need to cut, hey, where is it? All I've got to do, dimension it off the origin, okay? And then if I'm picking up the corner of the part as my work offset, I just change those dimensions to where that circle exists, and then I can just update the dimension on that circle, save and calculate, post that code. So a lot of stuff like this can be very, very effective for extreme reductions in programming time, instead of having to just go through the whole process every time of building a solid model, starting a project, putting tool paths on it, and going. We are pretty quick with the templates, drag and drop, but still, if you've got some stuff pre-assigned, changing a dimension and saving and calculating is pretty darn quick.
Now, Ken, in your experience building out these master files, are you shooting for, let's say, a middle of the road type project where you're going to be adding and subtracting operations as necessary? Or do you like to build out your master file as a complete file, or something that's going to get you 90+% of all machining operations and then scale it back from there?
It really kind of depends on the company and what type of work you're doing. If you're a job shop, you don't know what's coming in the door tomorrow. Okay, but you know over time, hey, I generally do a pocket, I do an outer profile, I throw some holes in it. Okay, so you can, I kind of go for that middle of the road flexibility kind of thing. If I know I'm going to be working with a particular vise, then I can have it all set up. A lot of people I find don't use the machine simulation and the full up simulation setups with vices and everything in it because it takes them too long to set it up on each project. But if you know you're going to be using that vise for whatever, for the next 10 parts or whatever that I'm going to be working on, or I've got 6 vices or chucks or whatever fixture plates that I use on a regular basis, setting those up and having those as your master projects can be that thing that gives you that jump start, and then still allows you to do things like I just did, where I picked the level off of the actual vise and am running a positive offset off of that, so I make sure I'm not going to run into my vise. I get far enough below my part to clear the bottom, but I know I'm not going to run into my vise. There's a beautiful benefit to having the true model of your vise, clamps and everything in the simulation. But a lot of people won't take the time to do that each project that they do because they don't feel that that's a reasonable expense of time. But if you've got it pre-set up and you simply save as, change model reference, reset your mates, boom, you're done, you're ready to go.
Yep. Any questions from any of our viewers that are on right now? I think we blew them out of the water, Ken.
Or put them to sleep, one or the other.
And no, I mean, for those of you guys that are watching this at a later time too, or those of you guys that are in the class right now currently, if you guys do have questions that do come up, definitely shoot me an email. I think everyone in here has my email address, or for those of you guys that are watching on YouTube, send that over. My email is down in the description of the video as I'm pointing down. So if you guys do have questions, definitely let us know how we can help, because obviously we're here to get this software as most proficient for you guys as possible. So we'll do whatever it takes to help you guys out there.
And on a lighter side, if you have some ideas of the way you've been doing things and you think they would make a good presentation in a KevCAM class, give us a call, let us know. One of the things that I find every time I ever do a training class, I learn something. So if you got some ideas on things that we didn't talk about tonight, we would love to hear that from you.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't see any questions coming through from anyone, so we'll kind of wrap it up here. I just want to thank everyone for attending tonight. Hopefully you got something out of it. And like I said, this is just not for this specific part, this specific vise. This will work with different part configurations and stuff like that as well. So think of it, like I said, think of it as your tool library. Do you want to build new tools every time you start a new project, or you just want to grab the tool that's in your library that's already pre-set up and predefined for you? So, but with that being said, we'll end it off here, and we will talk to everyone next Tuesday night at the same time. And if I don't talk to you guys in the meantime, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks a lot, Ken, for your help.
Thanks, everybody.
Greg.